Market bounces. It will bounce at some point, I promise. I don't know when though. That's the ultimate question. Will it happen today, tomorrow, Wednesday? I don't know. That is a question. So in today's video, we're going to look at some key level supports, right? Market sentiment supports, what is happening with the fear and greed index, huge value here, especially if you've got profit. Accumulation of units is massively important. Scrap the dollar value. If you've got profit and you've sold a lot higher, you may well be looking at some of these key levels potentially. However, not financial advice. The rest of the markets look terrible, and we're going to look at those too. So welcome to the Market Master channel. If you're new, sorry, bearish content, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel because I feel this is where the opportunities are. Fear and greed index, for the first time in a long while, we're nearly at single digits. Not good. It's also a good metric of where the market could be going. So if we look at the last year, we've had a few periods where we've been pretty damn low. This is the first time in a long while we've been down to 11. So definitely food for thought here. Now, the big thing that I mentioned this morning on learning crypto, and the video is free to utilize and use to your own benefit, it is on the Learning Crypto channel. The futures. It's currently Monday morning as I'm recording it. You'll get this at the night time. That is that's low. That's mad. I've not seen that for a long time. I'll be honest with you. I've not seen that for a long time. So looking at those futures, we may be looking for a bit of a bad market turn today in the stock market. Now, over the course of the weekend, there was a lot of things happening in crypto. I've mentioned this quite a few times. A few of my old videos. Liquidity crisis. Are we starting to see people panic a little bit in the stock market? Are they taking money out of crypto to cover some positions? Potentially. A lot of stable currencies took a wobble, UST and a few others, over the weekend. That is hugely important to note. So keep that in the back of your mind. Anywho, price analysis. This is my chart from a long while ago from my Patreon and stuff like that. I've been mentioning this level for a while. It's in confluence with some support structures. This is a weekly time frame, and we have done the business. Now, let me just make this a little bit easier for you guys to understand, right? So we have got, bear with me. Let me just remove that for now. We have got an overall big structure, right? And this is why I highlighted these levels. Now, I'm not going to say anything. It's a reference point, but that is also possible, boys and girls. However, so is this one. I feel if BTC loses 30k, we're probably going to go and address this level quite nicely. So that is where I'm going to start talking about bounces in a minute. We may get a bounce soon. This level here, this huge level on the total market cap, where basically most things will be at levels of support, and also Bitcoin could be at that 30k level again. This is why I'm saying we will bounce. It's just a matter of when and if we do. It depends on how much we bounce. Make sense? Good. Glad you're following. Just glad someone is. Now, with this, we're probably going to get a relief rally. Personal thoughts. Now, with this chart that I had on beforehand, this was on the lower time frames. This was a perfect bit of symmetry where we've had an impulse melting. We found an actual bottom. Okay, I wouldn't call it an actual bottom, but we did retrace up quite significantly up to this level, and then we just continue to melt. Okay, it's not clear cut, it's not perfect, but it is valid. And we have hit this 618 on the nose, and yes, there's another level in between there as well. For me, what I'd be looking for now overall is, where do we bounce from here? Are we going to see from this point a little bit of a different behavior, i.e. are we going to continue going down and keep going down and see a level, or are we going to see something a little bit more different, i.e. this? When we're looking overall, we've got the overall structure. Are we going to start seeing on the higher time frames, is this going to pull up? Well, that is one of the questions that we've got to look at as well, because the overall structure is actually this as well. Obviously, bottom pending, haha. We could see this retrace up nicely in towards a level of structure there, for example, right? Or the Fibonacci level. So we've got to look at that sort of situation. So for me, fundamental wise, I would be looking at this big juicy level there, right? If we're going to get a bottom. Now, that is the ultimate thing. We're in a downtrend. Yes, I know. It's horrible. But these levels here where we have kind of gone down to with the fib and stuff like that, they're important to note because we are going to get a relief at some point. You can see how many times this level has had a lot of wick action. Now, I wouldn't just put your orders in. I'd just wait and see what Bitcoin does as well, just in case. Now, when we're looking at this, obviously, I do think we will get some interest at some point. Someone will step in at some point. It's just when. And that's, you don't know the answer until it actually happens. So for me, I think we will get a little bit of a reaction when we go a little bit lower. Now, that being said, that reaction may be short-lived. A lot of the bulls will start getting very excited, but I do think we will retest previous levels of support, which is now flipped as resistance, and we may well see a continuation going further down. So you need to be very, very careful and very, very savvy to what you are doing with your risk management at the moment. But as I say, we could go a hell of a lot lower. Could be just the start of it. Like realistic, we've got to look at that and plan for that as well. So don't just blow all your money on one situation. Now let's look at BTC as an example as well. BTC, as you can see, similar sort of pattern overall. But we've also got to think that we will at some point retrace these blue candles, the red, really. You know what I mean? We will retrace that at some point. So we've got to look at the fact of overall weekly structure, you know, situations. Whenever the bottom comes in, we will probably try and recapture some of those levels. However, as I say with bounces, bigger the bounce, usually because bigger the history, i.e. we've dropped a lot, we're going to bounce a lot. Kind of works. Go and get a football, chuck it in the air, higher it goes, the more it bounces. You'll see. Now, that's the biggest thing. Will we see a 38,000? Will we see a retest of 42? Now, this is the thing. We've created a new low. We could quite happily go into this point, create another lower high, and continue going down. That is the thing. This is where people get excited. I will probably do a thread on how to buy crypto properly in terms of situations of a line chart, because people do get very excited at resistance levels, like really excited, when you shouldn't. You should be excited at support levels. So in terms of support here for Bitcoin, let me remove some of the noise so you can see certain things. For me, this whole level here where these wicks are could be a monster level of demand. Monster level. However, I have highlighted this before. If we lose that level, we've got a big swimming pool that we could get absolutely soaking wet in and underwater wrecked completely for a lot of people. 23,000 could easily happen if we lose 30k or 28k, whatever level it is. It's not that far away, let's be honest. Now, whether you agree with me or not is another situation. However, fundamental-wise, the market looks like poo. Realistically, sentiment-wise, everything looks a bit ropey, and that is where the fear of market crashes will come into play. The strong will survive, the people with the profit will survive because they will buy low opportunities and other people will sell into those hands. However, that being said, the stock market doesn't look great. Now, a few more things to look at. The dominance of the dollars, right? This is the dollar chart. I've inverted my chart, by the way, so it may be a little bit confusing to some people. I've not inverted this one, but the ones on the bottom of my chart I have inverted, so you can kind of see the picture. Up means bad, down means good, right? So let me just go back a second. On my main chart, I have it like this. So I have it so it flows with the market, right? So this is the opposite way around to what you see on this one, right? Okay, makes sense. That's why I haven't removed it. So if you want to learn about this, Patreon, I'll teach you. Levels, boom, blast off, right? Why is this bad overall? It's because the dominance of the dollars are going up, i.e. stable currencies, therefore people are moving out of position. That has increased massively over the last week and a half, give or take 2 weeks. It's pretty severe at the moment. We've blasted through basic top levels and people are expecting this to come down. I wasn't. Why? Because BTC was in a downtrend and ultimately so were the altcoins. Altcoins were hurting a lot more. So that is a big situation where we've got to look at that. And it is a proper uptrend. Look at it. It's a proper decent uptrend. Now, I know this won't have much bearing on the market overall, but realistically, this can go much higher, much higher. And that would also be, you know, BTC dominance, that could increase as well because money will be going out altcoins. Altcoins at the moment are getting absolutely destroyed, but that could lead to good opportunity as well if you are looking to accumulate units. Now, let's look at the main events. The dollar still looks strong. There is a CPI update this week that could be of interest, but also as well, looking at the likes of the NASDAQ, we have formed an absolute clear low. Clear low, lower high into a new low. Unbelievable, right? However, as I say before with bounces, this will probably bounce as well. That's the biggest thing, right? This will probably bounce, and if it bounces hard, I think crypto will too. But as I say this morning, currently, futures looks like a car crash. It really does look pretty bad. So if we are going to get a bounce as well on this, let's just say we go to this level, this will try and recapture this dip, right? Wherever this bottom is, this will try and recapture as much as it can. But we'll see. We'll see how much it does. A lot of earnings have been awful. A lot of interest around certain companies are starting to get really interesting due to those earnings, due to survival. Will they survive potential recessions and all these kind of buzzy words in the media getting you to get fear? And those fear will then give you a reaction, i.e., am I going to sell? Am I going to hold? Am I going to buy more? That is the thing. And this is why the market is always a wonderful thing to watch, right? Especially as a spectator. So for me, the market's looking pretty awful. But that being said, there will be a bounce around the corner. It depends on how high it'll bounce and what opportunities will then lead to it. Will we eclipse all-time highs this year? Probably not. Let's be fair here. Mentioned that a while ago. But there will be opportunities where if you are not kind of in the game properly, you may well get in.